Oh, hello. Just turn the old radio off there. Good afternoon. What a bumper crop I had this week. I'm speaking here now. It's Thursday. It's Wednesday. It's pouring with rain outside. I'm on my holidays. Does that put me off speaking to you? No. Now, first thing. Last time I was moaning my head off. And you know what? I feel guilty because I got all these nice letters from the ones who didn't participate, all apologised and saying I'm sorry, I had this going on, I had that going on. So look, it's me job. I've got a nag, okay. And if you go quiet on me, well, what else am I going to do? Look. At least I'm not ringing you up at home. Thank God. So Guernsey, sorry to pester you, but you can see why. I want to keep in with everyone, but on the other hand, I don't want everyone to go quiet neither. So, Stroke, yes, Aintree. I've got a couple of good ones there from Aintree. Oh yeah, I've had a couple of crackers there from Aintree this week. Stroke and Risk, yes, absolutely. I'm bleeding from practically anywhere, and you've probably all seen it. Streptokinase and anaphylaxis. Don't forget they got this stuff. They first tracked this stuff down from a species that inhabits your throat and gives you a sore throat. So surprise, surprise, introduce it into somebody's bloodstream, and very occasionally their immune system kicks off to such an extent that they become anaphylactic. I'll give you a couple of personal histories in my last communication with you. But Tyneside, I've got to say, Tyneside, you're handing stuff in of pretty damn good quality. I love all that stuff about having the little reference, you know what I mean? Even if it is Wikipedia, Wikipedia, don't forget, anyone can put stuff on Wikipedia, but between you and me and the gatepost, it's often where I start looking. Not where I finish looking, but where I start looking. Just so I know the sort of territory in advance. Be careful about it in essays, though. That's all I'm saying. Be careful about it in essays. Yes, you all said streptokinase gave rise to anaphylaxis. Good on you. Good on you. But not that you see it much anymore. And there was considerable resistance to the idea that streptokinase was given to the elderly simply because it was cheap, and it is cheap compared to the others. It's safety. You pointed to safety as the issue. And that in the elderly, in the trials that have been done, streptokinase seem to have the best safety profile, particularly with regard to stroke. Glad to see you, Tyneside, there again. You focused on accelerated idioventricular rhythm as a reperfusion rhythm. It took me a long time before I could get down to just watching idioventricular rhythm, because it just looks so weird, doesn't it? They call it accelerated, but often it's not very fast. And there you are, you got to sit still while it's all going on. Timmy Flow, yeah, you got Timmy Flow. I mentioned Timmy Flow last week. Yeah, very good indeed. And cheap isn't the answer. Yeah, absolutely. Stepping Hill. Love the way you mentioned the word antigenic with regard to streptokinase. Yes, that's the kind of technical term that we're looking for, isn't it? And you also had quite an extended list of arrhythmias. With your ectopics and your idioventricular rhythm, and all of them. I often think when you talk about reperfusion, your poor old heart has to deal with, when you've sat on your leg for any length of time and you've stopped its blood supply, and then when you stand up, you get that dreadful pins and needles feeling where your leg becomes so irritable that you can't put it down on the floor. I sometimes think that must be the same thing that your heart undergoes. One minute it's got no blood supply whatsoever beyond this blood clot, and the next minute it's all opened up again. Surprise, surprise, your heart muscle becomes irritable and starts kicking off. Kicking off's a technical expression, by the way. And you all pointed to the fact that thrombolytics not used as much as previous times due to PCI. Now, this is the bizarre thing. I only did these recordings 3 years ago. I did these recordings 3 years ago, but nowadays, when I listen to them, they're all starting to sound vaguely old hat. You know, there's me speaking to thrombolysis nurses and all that, all they're struggling for their jobs. It's just amazing how quickly life moves on. You know, I'm still going to keep on putting these up for coronary care nurses just until there's a new edition of the book, or we go for revalidation. But it is notable how times have changed. Yes, back to Tyneside. All those 6 reasons why a person might have troponin. All those reasons that you gave why a troponin might increase. Very good. And it's good to see that you have a cardiology ward. You know, I thought you might have been suggesting at one point that it's like the old days where the poor old patients just get chucked on a medical ward, but you weren't saying that. You're only saying when there's an absence of beds on the cardiology wards. Yes, very good indeed. And to give an example of what I was just saying there about how times have changed, I note that you reply to a question that I ask. Why isn't it that British people can expect PCI the way they get it in the rest of Europe? But of course, for everyone on this course, for everyone on this module, at the moment, PCI is precisely what they get, and a good thing too. We've got some communication still coming back on the question of communication. Yeah, very good indeed. And I wonder if any of you have ever been the relative of a. In fact, this is an interesting one to tell me about if you have. Whether or not any of you have ever been a relative of a person who's had a heart attack, and whether or not you've accompanied them to hospital and had a look at what things feel like on the other side. It is a interesting experience. Let's put it no stronger than that. My 78-year-old mother, fit as a flea, rang me up the other day and told me that she was getting discomfort in her chest and her shoulder and left arm was involved. And so I had to go through the accident emergency department, and it is a curious sensation when you're sitting there. It really is. And I'm just wondering if any of you have got any experiences like that. And you know, for the poor people, for the poor person who's going through that, as in my mother's case the other day, a mortal fear of being a fraud and being considered a fraud. You know, where does that come from? I suppose, you know, there she was with a decent story, age 78, and yet she was crushed with guilt at simply using the hospital service. Now, one last thing before I go, I notice, rather disappointingly, that nobody's joined the Facebook group. Don't forget, this is a way of building in some of the social aspects which you might feel as though, you know, you only see my face, for instance. Wouldn't it be a good idea if you all showed each other pictures of your unit and, you know, gave an account of the social life that you have in Tyneside or wherever? That's all I'm going to say for now. Keep the stuff coming in. Looking forward to hearing from you again, Guernsey. And get your mates on the course as well. So, unless I hear from you before, I will speak to you next week. And I'm loving every bit of contact that I have with you. So, cheerio. And good luck.